All right, let's look at how we draw checks and stripes and also spots onto a garment. So if we're drawing checks on the pant, the first thing we do is draw the stripe. So I always draw the vertical stripe first, following the direction of the garment. And so you've got to make sure these verticals are the same distance apart. Okay, then you draw the horizontals. Now these horizontals are not going to be straight across, they're going to be curved. So I haven't drawn that in quite the right place. You've got to make sure that these are the same distance apart as the verticals. And in this case, as it gets closer to the top, they're getting less curved. Okay, more curved towards the bottom. There we go. On the top, let's start off with a stripe and then we'll turn it into a check. So you've got to think about where the sleeve comes to. Sleeve comes there. So draw a stripe in the direction of the fabric of the garment, maybe put a little wrinkle in there. So this is going to be a much closer check. So always make sure the vertical follows the direction of the fabric. And then if you want to continue it onto the cuff, I wouldn't continue it straight on, I would put it slightly out of register. That way you can see that it's a different piece of fabric or it's a different section. So let's do the same here. And then I put these slightly out of register. Okay, so there's my stripe. So on the front, so I'm getting a bit of a curve where it's going over the shoulder. That's quite a convincing stripe. You see the way it changes here at the edge of the sleeve. So now I'm going to put some of the horizontal lines in. And again, I've got to keep these the same width apart that the horizontal lines are. So I've got quite a lot of curve on here. And I'm thinking I'm going to change the direction here. That's quite nice. So let's put one line there, and then I'm going to change direction here just to give it more, make it look more like it's disappearing. So I'm following the shape on the front. If it's a woman, then I'd probably get a bit of a curve happening. That didn't work too well, you know what I mean. There's my check. So on a skirt or some kind of fabric where you've got this sort of fold happening, I do the horizontal one first. So I just draw a line following the shape of the hem. And I try to have these lines not following on. I try to have these lines out of register, just so you see that you get this sense of the garment going down into the valley there. And then as it gets closer to the top, there's not as much overlap. Okay, then I can put the verticals in. Okay, so that's checks and stripes. So what if we have got a more complex figure? So I would draw the vertical lines first. So these lines would come back down here. You don't need to be too accurate with this, you just need to get the sense of the stripe first, and then we're going to put the horizontal in. And this one, So there's my stripe. Now the horizontal is going to follow I'm not sure if I'm doing that right. I think this is actually going to be like this. That'll do. So you can't always get it exactly right. Now this thigh, there's a lot of foreshortening, so I'm going to have it very round here. I think I'm going to try this going the other way to make it look like it's pointing over that more. So I'll have the horizontal line going in that direction. Yeah, that's nice. That makes it look more like it's going off over there. And then this one. Okay. So there's a more complex check. And you see how the check actually helps to describe the dimensions of the leg. Okay, let's look at spots. Now, people think that spots are easy. You just go spot. No, I wouldn't. I would structure them. So spots, yes, they're in line. So I would actually draw the lines, but don't draw them vertically. Sorry, don't draw them horizontally. I would draw them at an angle. So if you think about spots, they usually look like this. They're usually out of register. Okay, so they're not usually like this. They're usually like this. And so when they're out of register like that, you see they make a line like that. So they make a diagonal line as well as a horizontal one. Whereas if you have them just on top of each other like this, then you just get a grid. So it looks more like a checker pattern. This is a more convincing dot, having them skewed at an angle. So I would draw guidelines at an angle. So these are just structure lines. I'm drawing these very lightly, so on the final one you can erase these quite easily. And then it doesn't matter where you put the dot, I'd put it in the middle. And then sometimes you get very obvious patterns. Sometimes you get a more organic pattern. Kind of doesn't make much difference. Here we go. But this is a nicer way, rather than just kind of doing it randomly. If you are really feeling keen, you can get some perspective on the dot. So you can have it more like this as it goes around closer to the edge, like these ones maybe are more upright. Again, it's probably not necessary. You know, I think in most cases this will do the job. So we've probably got a little bit over there. So that's how we draw spots and stripes and checks.